Hitting live. And we are live.
All right. Welcome back, horror fans.
All right,
Wednesday.
fantastic. Hey, before we jump in there, I just want to make sure because I'm doing this is only my second time doing it, I want to make sure everybody can hear us.
Probably not. I'm muted. You're fuzzy.
How's it going, Chad? Yeah, can everybody hear us okay? See a bunch of people in the chat tonight. That's awesome. That's fucking fantastic.
Nice.
Whoa, faces. Yes, Jinju says faces. We're just checking to make sure everybody can hear us okay. Everybody say hi real quick.
Hi.
Okay, come on. Yes, they can hear us. Alex, you are golden.
Can I say my lines now?
You can say your fucking lines now.
Hold on, let me find my paper. No, I'm just kidding. All right, welcome back, horror fans. It's Wednesday after 8 sometime, as usual. That means it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast where you're going to need a bigger boat. We're coming at you live from the YouTube channel, so for all you podcast listeners, be sure to check us out so you too can be a part of the live audience. This week, we're covering select films released in horror history, April 25th through May 1st. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Alex. With me tonight are Eugene and JL.
What's up, everybody?
How's it going, everyone?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna fuck that up.
I just saw that I totally left that in the script.
Wait a second, I haven't heard his voice.
Well, what happened was I was writing the script for this week, and I looked at the calendar, and because Eugene's going to be out of town next week on our super secret project, and I was like, oh, dude, okay, Johnny's going to be on, and then I realized halfway through, I was like, oh shit, no, that's next week, fuck. So I went back and apparently that managed to sneak through. my bad. But thank you, Alex. Awesome for catching that. That's badass. All right. Well, welcome back everybody to the Week in Horror podcast. Let's see who we have in the live chat tonight. I do apologize for the slightly later start. We do like the 7 o'clock time, but this time we just had some big stuff come up, and we are focusing on getting that stuff done so we can bring that to you as well. And that kind of held us back a little bit, but we will be back at the regular time next week. And also, unfortunately, because of all of the crap that's going on out there, and actually, it's a combination of things. Number one, it's the crap that's going on out there, and number two, it's the fact that we are slowly transitioning back to normalcy. People's schedules are starting to ramp up. So we had some individuals that were potential that could be special guests this month, and unfortunately, they fell through. And I was not able to secure a special guest for I think for pretty much April. I'm going to try to fit one in for next week, but it's so tight that I may not be able to get it. So, but if we don't, we're still going to do an After Dark. It's just going to be a special After Dark. Now, we've had to do those a couple of times in the past, do a special After Dark where we'll either play the movie game or do something ridiculous and silly and stupid. So we'll figure it out. But we will definitely have, for our patrons, we will definitely have an After Dark available. So let's see, who do we have in the chat? So Kevin Paul was first on the list. Kevin, good to see you, and thank you for all your assistance with our digital darkness. Hopefully, I think Alex will be going live with that again here soon as he finds another game to connect to. And PhD Tony, one of our awesome patrons. Thank you so much for stopping by. We got Ivy Gentry. Oh, excellent. Haven't seen you in a bit, and I'm so glad that you got your t-shirt and your mug. That is fantastic. Love it when our trivia winners get their swag. And then, of course, there's Jinju. Pleasure to see you. Jessica G, our stream queen, is in the house. And she is acerbic as usual. God, I love that girl so much. She says, hey, Tony, remember that group that's even late being late? Ouch. That's the very first line. That was her opening. Not even a hello. So, and she says, I forget their name. Something about a week with whores. Or maybe big titties. They were an interesting little gang of rascals. I'll give it to her this time because we were running a little bit late. So I'll give it to her there. And, of course, who else we got here? Oh, PC Tony and Jessica G are just chewing up the chat.
They're just chewing us up, dude.
They do want to know where AJ Styles is.
Oh no, I've been replaced by a bearded Fred Durst. Keep on rolling.
Yes.
Baby.
So Fred Durst, why did you screw up Stain's rendition of Outside? I've been very curious about that because Aaron looked pretty pissed off.
Yeah. See, man, we just like try to do things, swing some times.
Yeah, nobody cares. So,
I mean, it is Stained, by the way, so it's already.
Oh,
that's cold-blooded. Chapter 5 got me through some bad times. All right, let's see who else we've got. I'm not afraid to admit that. Man Devil is in the house. Good to see you, Man Devil. It's been a moment. Do you watch? He's talking to PhD Tony there. And then, of course...
He's not talking to you, J.O.
He's not talking to me. He's talking to PhD Tony. People don't want to talk to me. Charlie Welch, the most dangerous man to make a bet with. Thank you so much, Charlie Welch. It was good to see you tonight. And, holy shit, John Rapp is in the house. There's John Rapp. Give him the welcome that John Rapp deserves. There's a very, very long story behind that. I'll let John Rapp tell it, but it's hilarious why he gets the middle finger intro. And, of course, another one of our amazing fucking patrons, NA. So good to see you in the house. Always a pleasure. And Tina Jones. She's joined us for a whole bunch of our streams. A whole bunch of our watch parties on in our Discord. She's usually there, and I'm so glad she's making it for an episode tonight. So thank you so much. Oh man, what an amazing fucking crowd we have. And PhD Tony, a special After Dark sounds kind of kinky. It usually is kind of kinky, only it's usually kinky with a special guest. Unfortunately, it'll just be kinky with us this month.
Just a devil's threesome. That's it.
Actually,
I'm thinking about bringing in Angela and Johnny too. That way it'll be a full pentagram.
That's the only reason.
Huh?
That's the only reason we need those two people on there, so we can make a pentagram.
Fuck yeah! Oh, new T-shirt idea.
Weekend Horror accidentally just summoned a demon. Oh shit!
That could be sweet.
Actually, that'd be something badass.
Who would we be summoning though?
That's a damn good question. But there's 5 of us. And it would look pretty. I wonder if that'll get us in trouble. Would we get in trouble if we did like a satanic themed shirt? We had like the pinnacle.
You go on and argue with fucking theists all the time, and you're like,
but that's the line, the pentagram.
The pentagram is the line we cross. I think that would be cool. If we did like if we did like the pentacle star, and then we had all 5 of us. You know, they're the cartoon versions of all 5 of us there. But what would be in the center? That's a very good question. I'm very curious. And Mr. Malort, good to see you all the way from Chicago, the Windy City. I just found out today is Fog Day, 21st of April. What is Fog Day? Anybody know what Fog Day is?
Fuck off, Grandma.
Fuck off, Grandma Day. I wasn't sure, but it's FOG all caps.
I
So
have no idea. Hey, you said Malort's from Chicago?
Yes, Mr. Malort is from Chicago.
That was a question. I'm from that area too.
I thought you were up there from Minnesota. Minnesota.
I lived up in Minnesota for a little bit, but I'm originally from Downers Grove, which is right outside of Chicago.
Minnesota.
Oh yeah, hey, don't you know? You betcha. We shoot deer and drink beer, and that's all we're good for.
It's a drinking community with a hunting problem.
It's fucking true.
And Jessica G says, I just took a selfie with a picture of Fred Durst in the background. It would be nice to have Fred Durst and AJ Styles in the same selfie, even if I have to edit it.
Dude, I could fucking pose as both if you want.
You gotta give her a Fred Durst. Okay, you've already given her the Fred Durst. You gotta give her the AJ Styles now.
That sounds so dirty, dude.
That sounded extremely dirty the moment I said it.
You got to give her the Fred Durst.
Oh, the movie The Fog took place April 21st.
Oh, Jesus, man, we fucked that up.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mr. Malort's the new host on Weekend Horror.
Okay, so
I'm still trying to think what the Fred Durst movie is.
You gonna give her the AJ Styles?
They call it the Nookie.
Is he doing it? Let me see. I gotta jump over here. No, he's. Oh, there he goes. Okay, you give her the Styles. Awesome.
Nice. Very nice.
PhD Tony says, Jessica G, get him to hold up his prisoner number.
We can do the 07 too.
Nice. All right, and Charlie Welch says Downers Grove is close to him.
Oh shit! Really? Where at?
Cool.
I used to hang out in like Naperville and shit all the time. I used to go to the Naperville Mall and everything.
Awesome. Look at these. We have the most amazing live chat. These guys are all so incredible. I love that they choose to hang out with us instead of certain other individuals. Makes us feel all fucking warm and special. Those other individuals know who they're talking about because we've been on Wednesdays for like years now, almost 2.
Dude, you leave Charlotte out of this, man.
Who?
He's a good guy. Charlotte.
I don't know who Charlotte is.
Remember when we had him on and he's like, just call me Charlotte.
Oh, Charlie.
You're talking about Charlie.
Yeah. Was that not the podcast?
No. I'm talking about Team Skeptic because he started running Whiskey Wednesdays a few weeks ago, and he knows.
Does everybody fucking run on Wednesday now?
And he knows that we air on Wednesdays, and we would have aired at 7 o'clock, which would have been sooner. Maybe that's why people are here. But he started doing a Whiskey Wednesday, like just a couple of weeks ago, knowing full well I've told him multiple times. We're on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Stop asking me to be on your show because I am already here. I mean, I love him.
It's just an insult.
I love him to death. The Team Skeptic is absolutely amazing. The dude has taught me so much, and he was literally my door into the YouTube into the YouTube career thing or whatever. But he's taught me a whole bunch. He's been an absolute inspiration, and he keeps asking me to be on his show on the day that I have my own show. The dude is straight killing me. And, oh man, Gavlar, the Hand of Zod. The best fucking name.
Love that name.
In our Week in Horror family. Dude, Gavlar, it is so excellent to see you. Your movie should be heavy. Everybody's movie should be dropping. I found a new way to actually ship out our mastermind patrons to ship out your movies to you. So it was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I pretty much just set up accounts in Australian Amazon and UK Amazon. And so now I can order from those fulfillment centers and get them sent directly to you guys. So I don't have to pay the exorbitant shipping for shipping from the States. It was pretty badass. What normally would have cost me $140 cost me $25. So
nice.
I was quite pleased with that. It was pretty badass.
That's very nice. Technology.
And Anna says, Week in Horror, his show is at least 6 hours. I'll stay here. Alex, Charlie Watts says, I'm mistaken. It's just a little town called Downs. LOL. I live close to Champaign.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a little bit farther out than.
Awesome.
In Downers Grove, but yeah. Anybody been to Wisconsin Rapids? Yeah. I actually don't spend a lot of time there, but I spend a lot of time out in Hayward, Rice Lake, Black River Falls. I love Wisconsin. Right on.
Cheese, cows, where the men are men and the sheep are scared.
Oh, are you kidding me, man? It's the greatest place to go camping or fishing or anything outdoors. It's fantastic. Plus, if you want to see a fucking bear, they just hang out in the fucking trees there. It's great.
No, I'm good. I've seen The Revenant. I'm good.
And PhD Tony says, to be fair, Team Skeptic might air on Wednesday, but he airs all the time. Yes, he does. He airs all the time.
Is that like an airball joke?
No,
he
screws up. He screws up all the time. He airs.
Airball.
All right. All right, fantastic. Well, how was everybody's week before we jump into these movies? How are you guys doing? I know that we have super secret stuff that we can't talk about yet, but of course we do. We just don't tell you about it, Alex. I swear, our podcast audience is going to think.
Bro, it would be funny if it wasn't fucking true. I got no idea what you're talking about.
Hey, Catnip Entertainment. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Alex, minor supporting role on the Week in Horror podcast. I'm gonna start off.
The dude is literally like 1/5 of the show. Well, it's because we have 5 people. You are technically
3 people here, you fucking asshole.
You are 1/5 of the show. We have 5 people. There's a 5-person crew. What the fuck do you want?
I'm just kidding. Fuck, I'm not butthurt.
So how have y'all's weeks been? Aside from stuff we can't talk about.
Well, we're gonna have to because I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, then just tell.
This is a need to know basis.
Eugene, you wanted
need to know.
Eugene, just what's going on?
Well, so I've been working on super secret stuff, and that's been my week. That's all of it in a nutshell. Unfortunately, my dad came down with some food poisoning, and so he's recovering right now. But I had to take over his business, running some stuff for all day yesterday and today.
Ooh.
So, but he is getting better.
Oh, that's good. That's excellent. All right, let me see. PhD Tony says that joke would have worked better if your co-panelist was literate.
Hey, I read good.
I do words good.
Hooked on phonics worked for me. Not
Fuck
really.
off. How are you about to say you're? Oh, never mind. I was just fucking railed on somebody that didn't deserve it. Anyways,
Who are you gonna rail on?
I thought PhD Tony just sent the thing that John Rapp said, and there was something spelled off. So I was gonna
50 of the
into
most
that,
awesome charters. It's a good day.
I almost just don't worry. I almost just went into yeah. Anyways, cool. Sorry, it's been a long week. Fucking this new job is killer, bro. And I don't even really. I'm just on a computer all day. It's insane. I don't know if you guys work on computers all day. Fucking props, because it's rough.
It just takes a little
Yeah, I
bit.
couldn't do it.
Yeah, it just takes
I
a little
thought
bit.
for sure, because JL, we used to work together, and then we kind of both went into the same thing after we left that company, and but now I'm like the guy that receives all the problems, and then I have to dispatch like trades to these places. So I'm in constant contact with. I take over the whole state of Georgia, so I have like 407 stores that I'm in charge of, and it's like constantly like your brain's going all the time. You're staring at a screen. Then you stand up and it's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. I've never been in this type of work before, and it's insane. Props to anybody that sits at a computer all day, because this shit it's rough.
Well, I'm a writer, so I'm used to it.
Oh, so you get it.
Yeah, so but I as long as I've got something to write. So, and I got plenty of shit to write. So, oh man, and Jinju just got the notification from YouTube. Yes, thank you, YouTube. Just they're
Taking a sweet time.
They're straight killing me with the getting this shit out of there. So, but anyhow, well, excellent. I'm glad you guys are doing great. My week is also going really good. Like I said, I'm literally counting the days towards my giant move when we are relocating up to Oklahoma. I've seen the space that I'm going to be moving into, and it looks fucking awesome. So things are looking really, really solid, on this end, and hopefully I will make it as seamless as possible, the big transition. And I know that these guys, because I know I'm going to have to take 1 or 2 shows off, and I know that these guys are going to really, really handle it. That's going to come up here probably next month. So, but other than that, things are going really, really good. So, but as usual, we're here to talk about fucking horror movies, right?
They don't want to hear about our lives. Just horror movies.
They don't know about it. It's just the movies we
These
talk
guys,
about.
Talk about the fucking
They just want
free shit. Move on.
They just want the fucking movies so that we can get the movies out of the way and get to the trivia question. They can answer the trivia question. Someone can win something. Is that all we are to you? Is just meat?
Yes, it's called being an entertainer.
We're just we're just one of those little crane machines that you don't even have to pay for. Just drop shit out of it.
Dude, we're not even influencers, so it's like it doesn't really fucking matter what you have to say.
That's true. We're not influencers. I don't influence shit.
We have to be famous first.
I'm influenced by my live chat.
Ooh.
And my patrons.
Ooh.
That was fucking corny as shit. Anyways,
I
Eugene,
know.
what movie do we got up first?
So the movie we have first.
You guys are so mean to me.
We have the movie Identity, released April 25th, 2003, directed by James Mangold. and starring a whole stellar cast of John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet, Alfred Molina, Clea Duvall, Rebecca De Mornay, John Hawkes, John C. McGinley, William Lee Scott, Jake Busey, and Pruitt Taylor Vince. All-star cast. A lot of
Are you
people.
sure you didn't want to finish off the rest of the cast there?
I think he got them
going
all.
in best boy number 3 is
I think he knocked him out.
And
It was a joke. He only didn't name like 5 people that were in that the rest of the film.
well, I mean, like we have other films of slashers. It's like nobody. So it's like here's one person who minor appeared in the film. And that was it.
Well, this is an awesome film. I'm a giant fan of it, and I want to actually repeat before we dive into this. I want to repeat what Mandevil said in the live chat. If anyone has not seen the movie Identity and would like to, don't listen to the spoilers section. Basically, this whole thing is probably going to be spoilers because Identity is a whodunit, is kind of like a horror whodunit film, and it is based on Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. So there is a twist at the end, or I wouldn't say there's kind of a twist at the end, but
I would consider it a twist.
Yeah, and then but the whodunit is the biggest aspect of it because there will be spoilers will follow. We will talk about it. So if you don't want to hear about them, you can either step away because we don't want to spoil anything for you. Mandel says you guys.
Look at the last week's fucking podcast and see what movies we're talking about this week and watch them so you can be on our level, bro.
Come prepared.
Mandel says you guys are the raptor in the first scene of Jurassic Park and we're the guys with the tasers. That's so fucking true.
Shoot!
All right, just trying to decide who in the live chat we're going to eat. All right, but yes, Identity. I thought this was really cool film, and I really enjoyed it. I love the fact that I like big ensemble cast, a huge amount of extremely talented individuals, especially John Cusack, one of my favorites. Ray Liotta is a legend. Alfred Molina got and a bunch of just an amazing character actors array. John C. McGinley and Pruitt Taylor Vince, Jake Busey, you name it. There's so many people in this, and what was absolutely cool. I love it when big ensembles come together to tell classic stories, especially something from Agatha Christie. And I realized the reason I picked this film is because we have never, ever talked about Agatha Christie. We have talked about Alfred Hitchcock, and we've talked about other writers, other mystery and horror writers. But Agatha Christie, legendary, prolific mystery writer, who had a little bit of mystery in her own life. But we've never, ever talked about her. Or her influence in pretty much the thriller mystery genre. Now, of course, Identity was a kind of a horror twist on it because the deaths were extremely violent in it, and of course the main character or who the main character is. But I thought it would be interesting to just kind of revisit that and kind of talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, first of all, I enjoyed this film. Also, I actually saw this back in theaters when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoyed, and it's interesting seeing her influence come across because she, like I said, she has some mystery. I believe she disappeared for about 10 days that she had never accounted for.
She did. Also, that was one of the strange. And I actually read up on this because you brought it up while we were doing the breakdown, and I said I had to look into this, and it was something really strange. Where did it mention it?
Yeah, she was unaccounted for.
And she just vanished?
Yeah, she just vanished. She came back 10 days, 2 weeks later, something like that, and she never gave a clear story of what happened to her.
Huh. A mystery lady with mystery in her life. That's pretty badass.
I mean, you guys have never just disappeared for 2 weeks?
No, I've never just disappeared for 2 weeks.
Boring ass life, dude.
I never freaking could. Well, I mean, for those not familiar, because I know we have, I know PhD Tony is in the chat. PhD Tony has been around since, the dawn of time. So he's aware of all of this. And let me see here. First, he says he loathes this film. I know why he loathes the film, because the film is an extremely poor representation. It's all a completely fictional representation of like, multiple personality disorder or DID, dissociative identity disorder. And we understand that. This is obviously very, very artistic. And Peach Tony says, the cast bear no responsibility for how bad this film is. I don't think the film is that bad. The film was well acted, well constructed. Yes, the depiction of mental illness in this, not great, it doesn't even comport with reality, but still made for an entertaining film, which is what the point is. But going back, going on Agatha Christie, and I know there's some people there might not be totally familiar, they may have heard the name, but an idea of who she was. She created the characters Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, who are legendary literary detectives up there. I say up there with Sherlock Holmes. Famous stories like Murder on the Orient Express, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, Death on the Nile, Partners in Crime, The ABC Murders, and The Mousetrap, and of course this one, And Then There Were None, which was adapted by what was his name? Cooney. Yeah, Cooney and the director James Mangold are who adapted this story to this film.
Wasn't Mousetrap ran for like 70 years or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, that was a legendary play. Yes. Classic or a major Broadway play.
Like till like recently, I think.
Maya Angelou started The Mousetrap.
Nice.
Yeah, up in Oklahoma. It was pretty sweet.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. And dang, Peachy Tony. And having read And Then There Were None, that's an idiotic story. Ouch. Anna, yes, you are correct. This is the 2003 film with John Cusack. Yes. He got it. Awesome. But yeah, I dug it because this is the first time we've come across a film that was adapted from the mystery author. And I wanted to just kind of clue people into who she was. Very, very interesting lady. Like Eugene said, there was a time there in her own life where she actually vanished without a trace. Nobody knew where she was. Then she popped back up, but was never really clear as to what the heck was going on. There's a lot of speculation as to what happened, who knows. But a very cool lady with a very awesome story who created a lot of cool characters, most of which you'll find on like the Lifetime channel or the Hallmark channel. those little mysteries. There's actually an adaptation of Murder on the Nile with Kenneth Branagh coming up here pretty soon. I know that's not a horror film, but that's actually coming to theaters here pretty soon. But I thought that was pretty cool. It's a chance to kind of like look into one of the the originators of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because at the time she lived, she was born in like 1890. A lot of the stuff was still new. You're talking about in terms of mystery and kind of writing in, kind of approaching the horror genre, all still new at the time. Really, really new.
In 2003.
So, I wasn't talking about Agatha Christie when she was writing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I was like, wait a second, for this movie? No, I don't think so.
No.
Do that for a while. No, it was really new, and that's see. There's a whole thing. Oh no, go ahead, Eugene. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say about that whole thing because I've read about the Agatha Christie stuff, and she was very dramatic. Fuck! Don't cut my head off or anything. But like this person that's getting into stuff like mystery, and they're like, well, if I just disappear for 10 fucking days, that's gonna be pretty mysterious, huh?
Well, Tony actually brought up something.
You guys never read those theories?
You're not wrong.
Tony brought up something
I was going to
interesting.
say, because there were like theories about that.
Yeah, Tony brought up something really, really interesting. He says what is lesser known is that Agatha Christie got into big tax trouble after her first book was a huge success. So she had to churn out books at an intense rate. So it may have been just a breakdown from just overwork and exhaustion.
Yeah, that's actually, there's been a couple of theories, and one of them is that she suffered a breakdown. Another was that it was a publicity stunt. Another one that is she had basically an affair and ran off for a little bit, and then she came back. Scandalous. So there are a couple of theories out there.
I think it's going to go down in mystery, just like what happened to Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Charlie Welch says, my mom made me read Agatha Christie at like 12 years old, among other things. Fucking miss that amazing woman. Dude, that's awesome, Charlie Welch. That is really, really cool. Spreading down excellent literature, just really cool things like that, I think is amazing. And John Rapp says, Doctor Who made a good explanation of Agatha Christie's disappearance. I did not see that episode. I will have to check that out.
You didn't? Yeah, that's a really good episode.
I'm going to have to check that out.
You said Doctor Who, the giant alien wasp episode? Is that the
one? No. Oh, is it? No. It's been probably 5 or 6 years since I've seen that episode.
I'm going to have to check that out. I bet you I can find it on Netflix. Well,
you can't.
a major thing, and I wanted to kind of just clue our viewers into something cool like that. Maybe a new author that they haven't read, especially those who are still stuck at home or still or those overseas who are still on lockdown. They might find something cool in her works. But all in all, while this film is a psychological horror film, ultimately it does rest on a mystery. And while PhD Tony says I really dislike mysteries that cheat and identity cheats, I could see where he's coming from. I really don't think it does, just because I think it was well adapted. But
Where do you see him? Where do you see where he's coming from? How did it cheat?
Ivy Gentry says it was the Wasp episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought so.
And Andy says, PhD Tony, I'm going to start calling you Eeyore. That's amazing. So
downer, bro.
So the big thing about this is that it is a mystery film. At its heart, it is a mystery film, just based off of the original book or off the original story. And the problem with a mystery film is that you got two sets of people. You get two sets of people who are going to be watching this, and one half of them is not going to figure out the ending or not going to figure out what's going to happen until the end, until the reveal. And then you got the other half who are going to figure out probably about halfway through. And that's just the polarizing aspect of mystery films. That's going to happen. And ultimately, it's going to polarize your audience. It's going to divide them.
It's going to divide them completely. Well, that's because, like you said, you're watching different. There was so much going on in this movie. Okay, I haven't even spoke on this yet because I haven't really come to. I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. It was a John Cusack film. I love John Cusack. I hadn't seen this previously to this week, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It wasn't great for me. But it did have a really good aspect of it did have so much going on, and there was different points that you had to look at things. And if you didn't put it all together during the movie, you wouldn't have figured out the ending. So that was kind of cool. But the mystery, I guess you'd call it a mystery based on the original story. Yes. But I don't know. This one was hard for me too, PhD.
Okay, PhD Tony is talking about, right there. It's just that I'm supposed to understand that a child can ram a baseball bat down the throat of a violent criminal, which was played by Jake Busey. And what he's talking about there is that ultimately the main character, played by Pruitt Taylor Vince. I can't even remember I don't know the guy's name. Malcolm Rivers. Malcolm Rivers. Yes, Malcolm. Malcolm is played by Pruitt Taylor Vince, and he has, I think, 10 identities or 12 identities in his head.
Right.
And each identity, because this is their depiction of multiple personality disorder, and so one of the identities in his head committed the murder when he was switched. And the other ones are just bystanders. But he has one that is violent. And so he's going through leading up into his supposed execution, or I think he's going to be transferred from the psychiatric hospital to a maximum security penitentiary to death row. To try kind of a last-ditch effort, his psychologist is trying to create I guess he puts him in a hypnotic state, and all of the identities are there and are brought together at this this inn. So there's two stories going on: the one in real life and the one in his head. In his head, there's this motel. It's a rainy motel, and all these personalities get trapped at the motel on a rainy night. All their cars break down. Interesting stuff, like they all share the same birthday and shit like that. And one by one, the individuals, the characters start getting picked off. They start, everyone's, one by one, people start dying. But then things would disappear, like bodies would disappear, evidence would disappear. It was very, very strange. This is the personalities in his mind vanishing with their deaths. And so the objective was to try and pick off all of the personalities until there was one specific personality left, the personality played by Amanda Peet. And that would be the one he'd be left with, and then he'd be safe to transfer to put into psychiatric care and avoid the death penalty. That's the whole gist of it. But it turns out the big twist is that there was a child personality in there. That was the violent one.
Right.
And that was the one that was killing off all the other personalities. And it turns out that the child one faked its own death in his head and then went dormant, and then showed up at the last second when everything was supposed to be okay, killed Amanda Pete's character, and then took over his body, and then he's uber violent again. So, but that's the big twist there, is that it was the child the whole time, the child, and that's why Tony's so pissed off, is because the child, literally just straight beat the, actually, it was this little kid, it's like an 8-year-old kid, kicked the shit out of fucking Jake Busey and rammed a baseball bat down his throat.
It's personality.
Well, one of the things is, like, it's right. It's like a personality. So it's not necessarily, they may not all have, like, they have the same birthday. They may have the same strength, regardless of size.
Yeah. So, I mean,
like,
that's what he's a little bit annoyed about. But this film, and being a mystery film, did polarize audiences. A lot of people did not dig it because it was so predictable. They saw the things that PhD Tony did, and they were like, nope, this is bullshit. And a lot of people were like, holy shit, that was fucking amazing. So, and while it has developed a bit of a cult following since then, the film was very, very polarizing. Now, I can tell you honestly, I was absorbed by the acting when I saw this. I also was very lucky, got to see this in theaters. And I was absorbed by the acting. John Cusack, Ray Liotta. We're talking about these are the actors I kind of grew up with. And I was kind of like, I was just in it. And because I was so invested in the characters themselves and the story being told, boom, I didn't see the end coming until the very, very end when the kid shows up and horrors don't get a second chance. And then, the kid kills Amanda Pete. But, but yeah, it didn't get me till the end. What about you guys?
Well, see, what I'm curious, because I saw it in theaters too, and I really enjoyed it. But I'm curious to see, maybe as society has changed, that maybe this is a film that didn't age well, because like you and I saw in theaters when it came out, we both really enjoyed it.
I was 23.
I was like 19.
No shit, I was 22. I hadn't turned 23 yet.
No, but when you talk about how mental illness is handled today versus how it was handled 20 years ago, and how mystery films are not in right now. There's no one making mystery films. There's other horror out there, but there is no mystery. So you got mental illness that has a whole new outlook on it. It was actually really, really new to try to depict it the right way in film. And the fact that no one's making mysteries, maybe it's just a film that just didn't age well.
We see that it's entirely possible. There was obviously a different view of multiple personality disorder, back, in 2003. I'm almost 40, and I think at the time in 2003, I think the DSM-3 was out. So, and now we're up to the DSM-5 if I'm remembering my dates correctly. But yeah, society has changed. We look back on this, which probably hasn't. We may look back at it as far as like the cult following may be because it's just an entertaining movie, and that the performances are quite good and are committed. Every single person is committed to their role. You can see people were having fun. They were really enjoying themselves in telling the story. I dug it. I really, really did. That's why I was so engrossed in it. But did you guys figure out the twist before the end, or did
I honestly didn't see it coming.
I didn't either.
That one did come out of nowhere.
And PhD Tony with so the laws of physics, the laws of evidence do not apply, and I am supposed to understand that there is a process in the real world of this movie that does not exist in the actual real world. PhD Tony, I love you so much, dude, and you're an amazing patron, but it's a movie.
It's a movie. You didn't enjoy Star Wars, did you, PhD?
that is not how you get around in space.
How dare that X-Wing make noise?
X-Wings, you can't do that in space. What is dogfighting in space? I didn't create the laws of physics to see them just, abused in movies. Yeah, he really is that old. But I ultimately, it was a polarizing film, and critics, were divided on it. But fortunately, we've seen a kind of appreciation for it. And I think it's an appreciation based on the performances alone. Everybody was fantastic. I thought Rebecca De Mornay was just, was classic. I mean, she can nail it. She nails that characterization so well of the flighty, self-absorbed, always looking for her phone signal no matter where she's at. Jake Busey, the violent criminal. John Cusack was great. Ray Liotta, always just the overbearing Ray Liotta. Everybody was so perfectly juxtaposed against each other, and seeing John C. McGinley in a role that didn't have him as kind of like, an authoritative heavy, I thought was really, really good. Or someone, because, it's John C. McGinley. I really, really enjoyed it. I dug it so much, and it got me, especially when, I thought it was really cool when they did the switch when they have to bring one of the personalities forward in order to talk to him, and they bring John Cusack up, and John Cusack's like in the chair, and Samir's like, "Oh my god!" Like he didn't know that he looked like that, and so it's really really cool. I thought it was really really neat. It got me.
And actually, I actually really want to ask the audience, the twist at the end, did y'all see that coming, or was it a surprise to you?
John Rapp says it's fiction. Yeah, unfortunately, it's fiction.
PhD Tony, so exactly what logical tools can I use to work out the mystery? Here, I got this one, guys. I got this. Ready?
Go for it.
Your imagination.
Fictional characters. Fictional characters. Am I getting through to you at all? We could say this if we want to. We can always do like a headcanon thing, and we could say that in his mind operates kind of like the way it needs to operate, because it's all in his head. This is also his psychology. So whereas it's kind of rooted in the reality that we interact with, it can kind of almost operate in kind of a dreamlike quality. So what needs to happen, or in his mind needs to happen, will happen. It's just the way he justifies it subconsciously. So if something is tweaked, or something disappears, or something doesn't seem to work right, that's what his mind needs to do in order to make this happen. And we could say that his mind is doing it because the psychologist or the psychiatrist who has him under hypnosis is coercing that and directing that to happen. So there is a puppet master and there is a puppet. And so it's quite possible that you could influence someone's mind, much like in a hypnagogic state. Did I say that right? Hypnagogic state. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But you could influence somebody to think these things. Possibly. Don't know.
Inception.
Inception. There you go. He's inceptioning his ass. And so we can. It's enough for me to suspend my disbelief in service of the story.
Yeah, I think anytime you have something that takes place in the mind, where the mind affects it, like say something like Inception or the Matrix. I can't even say it. Yeah, I can't even say it. Or like the Matrix or something like that.
Uh-huh.
There are rules in place, but the mind can break those rules.
Yeah, if need be, yep. Dark Theory's in the house. So good to see you. He said, well, it's more of a shock ending than a mystery. The best I think anyone could guess was that everything was fake, not that the child was the killer. That's also a possibility. I think, say this can't be, this has got to be a dream, or this has got to be something weird, because you got to wonder, the story about the dude being, the dude with the multiple personalities, Pruitt Taylor Vince's character, the thing about him just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's kind of like, so we know we have two stories going on, but we don't know how the two of them are linked. But because they're so forced, we have this extreme example, and then we have this extreme aspect and this extreme aspect. They've got to be intertwined some way. So it's possible it could be a dream, it could be in his head, it could be whatever, or it could be memories. Who knows? So, and I think that's what they may have been going on, is that they were hoping that the film would play out, like the motel stuff would play out like it was repressed memories of something. Like, so we have the killer in the chair, and we're trying to walk him through these memories, through this, hypnotic state, to try and get information out of him, or to do something. But, the fact that all of the characters are actually him, that, I think they could have pulled it off better, but, oh well. It works.
I thought they were going to come out with somebody that they had, like a personality that they hadn't shown on camera yet. I thought there was going to be another personality that came out,
exactly,
showing everything at the end, but then it was like, oh.
So, PhD Tony, I think this is sarcastic, but it's for you, Alex. I worked out the twist of The Usual Suspects and The Prestige. I'm actually pretty good at working out mysteries, but thanks for the tip, Alex.
Where did you decide that was sarcastic? I got it kind of right at the very beginning there.
And I will say this: Usual Suspects was pretty easy to figure out. I'm sorry, and The Prestige. I
appreciate you defending me, but leave him alone.
He's an old man, I know. But the Prestige, you figured out that he was. That Christian Bale's character was twins the whole time? I have to challenge that. I don't know.
Ooh, mystery off. You guys better do a mystery off. How'd you do that?
I have no clue.
Just show like 5 movies back to back, and whoever picks it out first.
All right, let's jump on to
Speaking
our
of extra
second one.
content, Jesus Christ.
All right,
anyway.
what do we got next?
Yes, next. It'd be helpful if I pull up my fucking notes. God damn
You
it.
guys are on top of it today.
It was an interesting day.
I understand.
There we go. Sorry about that. I had too many tabs open on my phone. That's that high IQ research. Anyway, so second film that we have tonight. Oh yes, released April 27th, 2007. We have the movie Wind Chill. I actually streamed this one in the theater during the big ice storm here in Texas. That was a lot of fun. And of course, directed by Gregory Jacobs and written by Joe Gangemi and Stephen A. Katz, starring Emily Blunt and Ashton Holmes. It's a small cast, and a number of other individuals who unfortunately were not credited initially. And the plot is, for those who haven't seen it, in a nutshell, Emily Blunt's character. I actually want to use their names. The girl, which is what she's credited as, basically shares a ride with the guy. And he's supposed to be basically carpooling to the same near to the same area. They wind up taking a shortcut down a haunted road and break down, obviously. And of course, shit gets real. No, but at the time, the ghosts then begin to besiege the car, and they have to unravel the mystery in order to escape with their lives.
This movie was fucking weird, and it tanked so hard.
It's so fucking crazy because Emily Blunt is like legend now. But this is, I think this was her fourth movie. This was her fourth movie ever.
Yeah, no, and then she ended up, just being fucking The Edge of Tomorrow.
Mary Poppins.
Well, yeah, obviously, like the girl on the train. That was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place.
Yeah, Quiet Place also. She's married to John Krasinski.
Krasinski.
John Krasinski. Mike Wazowski. Anyways, yeah, this movie was fucking weird. And then
it's kind of weird because like it had a feeling of maybe like a first feature, something like that, like something really kind of like he must have got Emily Blunt like right beforehand. Like right before, like she's about to blow up. Let me see if I can get her in this movie and hopefully make my movie successful because she's in it. And that didn't happen.
No,
that did not happen. She still blew up, but no.
Yeah, I don't know. This one was hard to watch. Did anybody actually watch it when you streamed it?
Yes, we did have people in. We did. We actually did majors. We actually did several. I think we did 3. I did Frozen, Wind Chill, and then I think there was a third. I wanted to do snow and ice as kind of a theme.
What was the one that was the frozen people in the cabin, the little worm alien thing? You streamed it not that long ago.
Was it me or was it Jessica G?
No, it was you. I was there. I don't remember what it's called though. Anyways, this movie, that girl should have been fucking worried when he's like, "I'll carry you into the gas station."
Well, the primary issue with it, the film works on some levels and doesn't work on other levels, and I consider it. I mean, for lack of a better phrase, I consider the film kind of frozen in its tracks. The issue being that we have pretty much some decent performances on Emily Blunt and Ashton Holmes' behalf, and of course, and I think oh god, Dermot something fucking. I'm going to look it up. Sorry. Martin Donovan, who plays the psycho cop, the ghost of the psycho cop, who's the one attacking and killing everybody. And I thought the performances were really, really solid. And I thought were really, really, the thing that carried the film. Unfortunately, the plot itself is lackluster. The script itself was unpolished. It felt very...
Scripted?
No. It just felt very, very jagged. Would be the sense of the word. Like the actors had a sense of what to say, but they were allowed to kind of play with the dialogue, and then oftentimes what they played with was what was chosen. So there were stilted areas, there was very, very dry areas. It was just sometimes where it just didn't play very well, and it felt like there were just takes where He's like, we want you to say this, say something to this effect, say something to this effect. And then they just played. So I'm willing to bet that the script was not completely sussed out before they went into production on this one. They probably moved very, very quickly, and because they secured Emily Blunt, who at the whose schedule was probably starting to really ramp up. It's like, oh, we got her, let's move fast. And so they'll take the leap and just kind of go with an unpolished script, something in its second draft, and just go ahead, just run with this, just run with this, just run with this. And she's like, okay, whatever, it's a paycheck, and they just ran with it. So
I'm actually glad you mentioned that up, because when dealing with actors, and a lot of times you'll have actors that'll improv and stuff like that, and sometimes it can work out and it can be fantastic, but I've come across a lot of times where actors are like, they'll get dialogue and go, I wouldn't say that. And most of the time it's like, yes, you would not say that, but your character will. And especially a lot of new actors are always trying to put their own personal spin on dialogue. They want to do their own stuff, but some of the best actors I've ever worked with, you can give them any line and they can deliver it perfectly. Like any line, just verbatim context. And I was like, so people who are interested in acting and they want to start doing auditions and stuff like that, you have to be able to take lines verbatim and be able to go. Now, like, sometimes directors will give you that freedom where you can kind of tweak it, and they may end up making a final cut, stuff like that, if you really, truly understand the character. But you have to be able to get away from yourself and how you talk.
Absolutely.
Well, that's becoming a character. So I got a question for you guys, because it's like like you said, it was kind of like a jagged performance. You feel like the director, is that on the director? Is the director being too loose? Did he see this and was like, okay, I kind of want you to just play around with it and this is what happens? Or is this just like poor writing?
I blame the director on that, because you have to make sure the actor fully understands the character. And when an actor fully understands, then you can improv and it can work out. If the character's still not defined, or they're still kind of half character, half themselves, then you'll get improvisations that don't work. That's a director's fault. Right. Especially if it makes the final cut.
And I mean, we've seen Emily Blunt in later films. It's not like she was, terrible. And earlier films, it's not like she was like a bad actress. It sounds more like got a little choppy, and that made this movie a little choppy.
Well, is it entirely the possibility that Emily Blunt was obviously, she probably auditioned extremely well, and she got picked up for this one. They may have jumped ship just a little bit quick in order to make sure that they could secure her for the entire shoot. And then of course you got Ashton Holmes. This is a small production. It's literally, I think, 3 locations. It's at the start when the two of them, actually like 4 locations, where the two of them meet on the road, in the diner, and at the location where they break down. So it's pretty much what it is. It's this was a small location film, is a small budget by comparison to what Emily Blunt does today. And it's just one of those horror films that you wind up doing when you're very early in your career. I think most likely what went down is, if the script was unpolished, which it feels like it was, that with Emily Blunt's talent, and also Ashton Holmes being a very, very talented actor, more prevalent on TV, you see him a lot more there, but he does the occasional movie. And you just get to see what they can run with. And when you realize you have these 2 talented individuals, you got them for a short amount of time, and what they may be coming up with is better than your script, or maybe even there's no dialogue there. There's just an idea of what they're chattering about. Like, the scene when she's painting, I think she's painting her nails, or, when they're talking about, they're talking about the car, the actual, the condition of the car. And various, when they're learning about each other, that may all be completely ad-libbed. And then again, sometimes ad-lib just doesn't play off. You kind of go with what you got. So I think lack of planning, and I often cite planning as a major thing about films, about getting your film done correctly. Now, they got it in the can, that's great, but of course, when you don't plan things accordingly, you're going to run into problems. Luckily, you have 2 extremely talented leads who can carry your film all the way up the fucking hill.
Yeah, and another thing, because I'm looking at the director's filmography, who he's done a lot of like first assistant director and executive producer and producer stuff. He's done a lot of those. But this is only his second time directing in it. And when you get a talent like Emily Blunt, you cannot be intimidated by if you get some big name, because ultimately they want any kind of actor, especially any kind of actor who's good, wants to make sure the director's vision comes across. So if you're like, man, I'm a no-name director, but you get Brad Pitt in your film,
Yeah.
you cannot be intimidated. And you have to be like, Brad Pitt, man, that's awesome. It's not working, but this is why. Let's try it this way. You can't be afraid to say that.
Don't be like Kevin Smith when he was trying to direct Bruce Willis. Just don't do it, because Bruce. I've heard this story a million times. And Bruce walked all over his ass because Kevin wouldn't stand up to him. That's just the way it goes. It's like Les Grossman said in Tropic Thunder. You know what you do when you have an actor who doesn't do what they're supposed to do? You bend them over and spank their little ass. But yeah, you have to be able to wrangle your actors and not let them walk all over you. That's a huge thing. Absolutely. What the heck is going on here? They figured out how to beat us.
I see that.
So basically, if they just chat about the movies, we gave the movies out ahead of time. They just chat about them in the chat. If they don't need us, they'll just talk about it in the chat and then they'll leave.
So we're behind.
Luckily, the people talking about this, they haven't seen it. So, yay. That makes me very happy. So, Man Devil, have a good lunch. Thank you for stopping by, and we will try to knock the rest out of the park. We know he'll probably catch up with us later on the podcast when we throw it up on Sunday. So, Dark Steve is in the house, another one of our amazing patrons. So, nope, better late than never, man. So good to see you. Thank you so much. And Ivy Gentry was letting us know that episode is The Unicorn and the Wasp, was the episode with Agatha Christie, and it's currently up on HBO Max. I am not getting paid for that shill.
This is not an advert.
This is not an advert. Do not take this as legal advice. Absolutely not. But yeah, so a big thing that I wanted to do, because unfortunately, occasionally we talk. I want to talk about this one because it was an early Emily Blunt film. The performances were pretty solid, and that's what carried the movie on. But it's a good atmospheric, claustrophobic little movie. People stuck in the cold. It's not as terrifying, or I would say visceral, as a movie like Frozen, where the idiot kids are trapped up on the chairlift at the ski resort over a weekend. So it's not as gruesome as that one, but it has its little moments. And I wanted to kind of just run the roundtable with you guys. What hit and what missed? Like, what did you really dig about it? What really worked in this movie? And where they just dropped the fucking ball?
The aspect of them being kind of stuck in a car got me. It was like the claustrophobia. And the story was a little bit different. I guess hadn't really been done in like a movie. You see it on TV shows, the being stuck and the ghosts on the road. Can't really think of many movies that kind of had that same idea. TV shows I can come up with a bunch, but yeah, I don't know. I guess the claustrophobic aspect to me, the being stuck in the cold in the middle of nowhere.
A couple of things.
I had to dig, man. I understand.
If we're looking at some hits and misses on it, I thought the performances were pretty good. I thought the cinematography is kind of lacking a little bit, and I think in terms of the characters themselves, because I mean, when you can name your characters guy and girl, like that's it.
Your movie better be really fucking good if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. It just showcases right off the bat, because it showcases right off the bat that you didn't think of these characters through. Because people attribute names and all sorts of kinds of stuff. Even if the names are never said in films, a lot of times you'll give names just to kind of flesh out that character. Or if it's somebody's named narrator, like in Fight Club, or the protagonist, like in Christopher Nolan film, they do that for a reason. It just felt kind of lackluster. And because if you take a movie like, say, Monster, which they're straight on the side of the road also, to me, that was much better because it had fully developed, fleshed out characters. To me, the cinematography was outstanding in that film, whereas this one, it was just kind of lacking.
The big, huge difference in that is that in Monster, which we also streamed in there, we also did a watch party in that one, Monster focused predominantly on the characters themselves. That we had one of the most amazing stories going on behind the scenes, because the story, they're trapped inside the car, there's a monster out in the woods. That's all you got to know. There's a monster in the woods, and they're stuck, and they're trying to survive, make sure the monster doesn't get in and kill them. But the story between the mother and the daughter is what made that movie. was absolutely shattering. That story. So that is the virtually the one thing, the thing that makes that movie so much more successful over this particular one is that I honestly, that was one of the things that missed for me. There were a couple of things that missed for me. One, I didn't care enough about the characters. While I really enjoy Emily Blunt's performance, I really enjoy Ashton's performance. The problem is that there was very little chemistry between the two of them. Not even some built up in traumatic situations where you start to like kind of lean on each other, just for that support, because you're out here. It's better to be allied than it is to be separate. And it seemed like Emily Blunt's character was fighting that at every opportunity to fight that connection that builds between people in traumatic events, and there was no reason as to why she'd be fighting it. Did she suffer a traumatic event? Was there something, did she really not trust this guy? Why is she so untrusting? When he says legitimately, I just was trying to take a shortcut and the car broke down. That's not his fault. At first we're kind of like, ooh, did he trap her here? What's going on? But no, ultimately, he just fucked up. And she holds on to this animosity and this distrust for way too long. She's constantly fighting this, and it's just kind of like, and she only really, and she doesn't even really break down when he croaks. So, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel, she comes back and finds him dead. I just didn't feel anything.
Yeah, it's kind of, So I couldn't invest in the characters, despite their good performances. I just didn't get them. It could have been, we literally could have taken one out of the car and just, left Emily Blunt in there. And she could have carried that on her own. Or you could have taken Ashton and put him in there. That would have been fine as well. But the two of them together, I just didn't see any reason for both of them to be in the movie. There's just nothing there. No chemistry to bring the two of them together, which was a shame. And then, of course, I thought the stuff outside of the car, and I think this was an editing issue. Or maybe it was a pacing, I'm not 100% sure. But I kept feeling like the distance to the car, or I guess the threat of going out into these sub-zero temperatures, which is another issue because they never actually looked like they were cold. Despite the fact that at some point they're like on their knees or they're thrashing around in the snow, it wasn't like, The Revenant, where I look at Leonardo DiCaprio, I was like, that fucker looks cold. That looks really, really cold.
That's a cold movie to watch.
Or Frozen.
Somewhere that gets cold. Like
they were up in Vancouver. And I know that Vancouver's mostly wet, but it does get cold.
Bro, I've been in Texas for almost 10 years. I go up to Minnesota pretty often. I was up there when it was the middle of winter, and people were walking around outside without coats on and shit.
No. It's the idea that when there's snow out, your hair gets wet, your clothes get wet. You look like you're cold, okay? These people don't look like they're cold. They look like they're walking around on a normal summer day, and we have just made
it got like 10-minute fucking takes, and then they go back to their trailer.
We've made it cold in post. And that's that's what I got. It's like, wow, this cold was done in post. It's like, this is post cold. So I mean, there was that. It kind of took me out of the film a little bit, but I really, really dug just the interactions. But I thought that their performances together were really, really good, and I kind of dug the whole like flashback. There was a story, there's a mystery here. There's a psycho ghost, and then the other ghosts come and take their revenge on him. It was poignant. It was just a classic little horror thriller, but ultimately. Unfortunately, more misses than hits. It is good, to see if you want to see where Emily Blunt was coming from. Just, see an early movie. I think, like I said, it was her fourth film. And I think her fourth film and maybe her second lead, where she was like, boom, Emily Blunt is in this movie. But yeah, it's a ghost story. If you dig ghost stories, or you dig something, kind of creepy, the kind of claustrophobic, or the spooky, moody atmosphere of, being trapped out in the darkness, with ghosts all around and stuff like that, then the film would be for you. But ultimately, just kind of just barely under the wire.
Still probably wouldn't be for you, to be honest.
It wasn't terrible. It really wasn't. There are obviously much better icy horror films, and that actually brings me to the question tonight, our CTA. I want to ask the audience, what is your favorite icy horror? So films set in winter, in the dead of winter, or someplace frozen and scary, where the environment is as much a threat as whatever is currently stalking our protagonist. What is your favorite icy horror? Let us know in the live chat. We'll take a look at those, or let us know in the comments below, or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
This one has an actual correct answer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the thing all the way.
The thing. I think so. I think so.
I was gonna go Nazi zombies.
I think so. Oh, Dead Snow.
Red Dead Snow, yeah, Dead Snow.
Or
Red Dead Redemption. Is it Red Snow?
It's Dead Snow.
Yeah,
Dead Snow. Dead Snow. And then Dead Snow, Red Dead. I'm not sure. It's a horror comedy. What the fuck are you? But I figured some people would say, "Oh, there you go, 30 Days of Night."
Yeah,
shit,
I enjoyed 30 Days a Night.
Oh,
No,
and
God.
Phantoms, motherfucker. Phantoms like a motherfucker. Oh, and PhD Tony says,
Frozen, like Disney's Frozen, because I agree.
"No, Frozen. You have the kids on the ski lift."
I know.
That's a rough one.
Let it go.
When she wakes up and she's stuck and her hand is frozen to the pole. It's like that. Oh, that was fucked up. That was fucked up. PhD Tony says The Thing. He was the first one there. The Thing. Charlie Welch says Ravenous. That was a good one too. It's a great moment.
I forgot about that one too.
Gavlar the Hand of Zoz says The Thing and Dead Snow. Sarcasm. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. And Sarcasm says The Thing as well. I'm surprised nobody said The Shining.
Would you? I guess.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't really focus on the snow, other than they got trapped in because of it.
They got trapped in there, and of course, he freezes to death at the end.
But they don't really play into it until towards the end, where there's like the little kids going through the maze.
The hedge maze, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
the bomb and Phantoms, yo.
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms. That's what I was talking about. Phantoms like a motherfucker. I know we're eventually going to get to that movie. Eventually, it's going to come up on the show. Because we got to get a big picture of like Ben Affleck up on there. I'm leaning toward the other. And that writing was so terrible. And Dark Theory says The Shining, absolutely. And Charlie Welch says, I'm an esteemed student of Stephen King, but don't care for The Shining. Who knew? Interesting. But Dr. Sleep.
I was going to say, how do you feel about Dr. Sleep?
Yeah, that's... Dr. Sleep has a whole different feel to it.
Fuck yes. What did Dark Theory say? Dark Theory said, this graphics card shortage is starting to get in my feels. Is there a graphics card shortage?
Are you serious right now, Joe?
Bitcoin mining.
Oh no, it has a lot. It has a lot to do with there's a silicon shortage because of the C word. I know you can't say that on YouTube anymore, but there's a silicon shortage on top of the Bitcoin mining, on top of like Tesla and all these electric car companies using all these processors and stuff. And so it's not just it's GPUs and CPUs. There's a shortage on everything right now.
Interesting.
I've been trying to build a computer for the last 4 months.
Huh.
And it's like, okay, yeah, you can get a graphics card. If you could find one, it's gonna cost you 10 times markup at least right now.
I had no idea. My system is great, so I didn't know. All right. NA says, I take it back. Alive was better. Interesting. I wouldn't say it's a horror movie. But they do eat each other. So
yeah, I was like, they're still frozen.
Yeah.
Charlie Welch says, Phantoms was a Kuntz book. Yes, it was. It was a novel by Dean R. Kuntz, focusing on the ancient enemy, this oil-based monster that lives in the earth that comes out every so often to eat a population and then leave. Sir Cass says, Eugene is spot on. The cold doesn't have a role in The Shining until the last few minutes. It's a constant threat in The Thing. This is true. Very true.
Gotta stay alive, and it gets them in the end.
Yep. So definitely, yeah. So anybody listening on the podcast, let us know. Hit us up, weekendhorror@gmail.com, or check us out in the comments below. What is your favorite icy horror? We'd love to know. Alex, take us to our third one, and one I'm really excited to talk about.
Black Magic Woman.
Oh, yeah.
See, I just pulled the fucking jail and clicked the wrong screen. All right, we're going to talk about a movie that came out April 28th, 2017, called A Dark Song. This was directed by Liam Gavin, starring Steve Oram, Catherine Walker, Susan Loughnane, sure, Mark Huberman, Nathan Voss, Martina Nunvarova, and then a shitload of demons. And this movie was fucking awesome. I saw some people talking about it in the chat. This was great. A woman loses child to some kidnappers that were using black magic. Whatever, teams up with a cultist and is trying to perform a ritual to get answers, essentially. But there may be some darker motives that kind of fucks up the ritual and makes things go all wonky, which is usually how shit like that works out. If you guys didn't know this, though, when I was looking into this, because I was trying to get some background on what they were doing, and I had just listened to a podcast on the last podcast on the left about Aleister Crowley. The ritual that they were performing in the movie is called the Abramelin operation. Abramelin, probably fucking that up. But it's an occult rite. It's a ritual that is like meant to obtain the knowledge and conversation of the ritualist's guardian angel. And so it was performed by Aleister Crowley back when he was doing all his bullshit sex magic stuff. He was a weird fuck. But that's I thought that was kind of a cool tidbit that specific ritual was used in this movie because it was something used by somebody famous, a famous occultist.
Oh, interesting.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm so glad I did. This is also one that I showed in our watch party in our theater and Discord. This movie fucking blew me away.
I hadn't seen this one yet.
This one was absolutely amazing.
It was fantastic, dude. The acting in this, Catherine Walker was fantastic in this.
I really want to say the fucking cinematography is amazing,
dude. Like even when they're like in the car and shit too. Yeah, it was great. I just took a camera in the car, but like the way that they played this whole movie off the camera was great.
I mean, it was just, this was hands down a stellar production. And the thing with a film like this that I think Wind Chill fails on is this is also a very kind of a minimalist film because it only takes place a handful of locations. They shot the entire film in 20 days. Like that was just straight up just it.
Damn, that's lightning quick. That's lightning quick.
That's super, super quick. They primarily used a townhouse and a mansion for just about everything on it. Cool. But the thing is this is the way it's done right. All of it holds your attention. The performances are amazing. Even just having limited locations, it's shot in a consistent way where it's always interesting to look at on it. This is how you do a small budget indie horror film.
Yeah.
And one thing they got right, and I think is the standout part of this production is obviously the chemistry between the leads. That Catherine and Steve, the two characters, actually Sophia and Joseph Solomon being his last name. The individual with the knowledge, but it is rare. And it has been a sadly a rare thing in the past several years. I have not seen a two-person film that was this strong in the chemistry between the two leads, which at times literally runs the gamut of human emotions from completely like almost like they're best friends, and they're completely bonded. They've known each other forever, all the way straight to purely antagonistic, and. Given what the two of them are doing, in which he is trying to lead her in performing this ritual, and her with her own dark motives, and him with motives we never really are sure if his motives are pure or not.
He's just being a good friend, man.
Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. It's uncertain. But then again, he is very, very clear that he really cannot be emotionally attached in this. So, because that can fuck everything up. The intricacy at which what was given to this film is so amazing. And not to mention, it's atmospheric, it's creepy, it's, at times intensely claustrophobic. Imagine being stuck in your house for weeks. Wow, that is so...
I was just gonna say,
holy fuck, damn.
I wonder what that would be like.
Damn, I literally just fucking hit me. Damn
like,
JL.
Dude, we've been living in a horror movie.
I think they were stuck in they were in that house with the window virtually in the dark, almost. In him under this authoritarian rule to try and make sure that this ritual is done correctly, doing the same things over and over and over and over again. And it's at times brutal and at times romantic. It was an absolutely wild film. I could almost see this thing as a stage production. And both the characters draw me in. Her plight draws me in. The fact that, it's really a revenge tale. And that he may harbor greater feelings for her than he initially let on. Which is why, that's why he decided to do it. And then, of course, when all is said and done, and what happens to him, I don't want to spoil too much, but when what happens to him, and then all of a sudden, the doors are opened, and she's got to deal with whatever comes out of it. That moment when she's talking to the voice behind the door, and the voice is like straight up honest with her as to what it is. Fucking that got me.
Yeah.
So the writing, like you said, the cinematography, the direction on this. This is how you do a fucking movie, especially if you've got a limited budget. This is how you make the most out of what you've got. You only have two locations. We're talking pull as much character out of those locations as you possibly can. Play with your light and your shadow. Make sure the two actors you have, not only can they do the actor thing and actually memorize the lines, but that they have fucking chemistry and that they could stand being around each other for this prolonged length of time. Everything was so sharp. And I mean, this, PhD Tony actually did. I was aware of the movie, but he definitely said, "Dude, I hadn't watched it yet." He's like, "Dude, you've got to fucking watch it." And I was like, "You know what? I'm going to stream it in the theater." Boom. This movie blew me away.
Okay, so this movie only fucking grossed like 23 grand worldwide, and it was filmed in Dublin, in Ireland. I don't know.
Was
23,000, man. I'm gonna go spend some money on this movie now.
Yeah, I wonder, because I didn't hear about it at all when it came out, that maybe there's just no marketing behind it.
The fact that it was a foreign film may have influenced that. The same thing would go for The Babadook. The Babadook globally did not make a ton of money, but it was crazy popular in Australia. So, it could have been. We don't see a huge unless it's a film like Parasite, where it just blows up in the American markets. This one is just one of those ones that was, foreign shot, but I love that. I love that it didn't explode. That this is a hidden gem for us horror fans that we can come along and find. It's like, this is the reason we love this genre. This is the reason it's amazing. Where the storytelling is as good as the terror that it's actually trying to build up. I really loved it. And what did I see? I see the plot hole is in the house. Good to see you, Johnny O. Thank you so much for joining us. He's in the chat tonight, not running the background. I'm running the board tonight. I know I'm as scared as you guys are. But another thing that Alex touched on I thought was really, really cool is, okay, let me ask you guys, and I'll ask the live chat as well. How often do we watch a movie where witches or witchcraft or the occult comes into, and it's completely fucking Hollywoodized? Am I right?
I mean, that's the majority of them. I mean, The Craft.
Yeah, you get this commercialized.
There you go.
This commercialized pop vision of what Hollywood or what studios think the occult looks like. Like someone popped open like the occult handbook, like the witch, the guide to witchcraft, picked out a few things that looked interesting, heard a couple of things, talked to some people, and said, "Let's throw this in a fucking movie." But this film, legit, is what it looks. Sure. This is what it fucking looks like.
And for sure, and like it touches on a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you.
No. You're absolutely, keep going.
I've got a lot of friends that are in that community, and I've been around the not public side of that community, and it's so different, like you said, than what they portray in Hollywood. You get these, like you said, The Craft, or you get like fucking Sabrina the Teenage Witch and shit. But there's like so much more that they could dive into. Using witchcraft and the occult and stuff, really cool stuff that you could really get into and use, and they really did in this, and they really touched on a lot of like how in depth it is and how, like you said, brutal it could you imagine them doing this as a stage production, like how exhausted the characters would be at the end of it, because there's a lot that goes into like setting up, and there's a lot behind it, and it's a really cool and I don't want to like be like, oh, it's just like a cool novel idea. It's very in depth, and I don't know. The beliefs and the people that are into it are super awesome, and they're very strong-minded people. And there's just a lot that doesn't get touched. It's a shame that they show it in a Hollywood perspective, because it's essentially making fun of a group of people, and that kind of sucks. But yeah, no, this movie touched on a lot of stuff that the Hollywood stuff misses.
And I think for anybody who does practice the occult or who is pagan or Wiccan, I think would really truly appreciate the depiction of this. This is not some glamorized, commercialized pop version of what people believe in. It's legit. The ritual itself, how it's performed, the concepts of being on the correct diet, of having the correct mentality, of going into it with a specific kind of idea, an idea in your head, and of course the person who is running the ritual and maintaining it, and everybody's got a part to play, and it is all incredibly intense and incredibly exhausting and emotional, and that's what it's about. And the actors, they pull this off so amazingly, especially when it's revealed that she went into it, essentially with a false heart, that she went into it with a hidden agenda, which you can't do when you're doing these things. Otherwise, you risk opening the doors and horrible shit coming out. But she goes in there that this wasn't about getting in touch with her son, with her dead son. This is about getting revenge on the person who killed him. And so when you go into that kind of darkness, then it comes out in a spectacular fashion. It was a brutal fucking little... This is why you don't fight in the kitchen, kids. This is why you don't fight in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay? Because horrible shit like what happened to him could happen to you. But this is what you don't do. And it all comes out in spectacular fashion. And as we slowly burn our way, such a wonderful slow burn. As we burn our way to what's inevitably going to happen is that the door that she'd open, these things are going to try and take her. And then, of course, don't leave the house before it's over. And
once it started, that's it. Once you start it, you have to see it all the way through.
Yep.
And I think you're right, because I've known and I've hung out with people who are Wiccan, are part of the occult and stuff like that. First of all, they're wonderful people. I love hanging out. Always interesting to talk to. And this comes from a place where it seems like they did their research on it. Now, they could have dramatized it a little bit here and there, but you're right, not to the level that Hollywood does. It's not people flying, floating around, and all this other big stuff. It was cool. I just really enjoyed it.
I think the biggest part of it, and the reason, PhD Tony, he absolutely loves this movie, and I love it as well, is when you have underlying themes that people can connect to. Just like the Babadook was about grief and how we deal with grief and how grief can become that thing that follows you around and is constantly hiding in the shadows, kind of like overlooking everything that you do. That's what the Babadook was. In this particular one, it's how we deal with tragedy. The tragedy, the tragedies occur in our lives and other people's lives, how we react to it, how we deal with it, and how we come to terms with it, ultimately, and realizing that this is her process. And of course, it's his process as well, because he's the one guiding her through it. But he's responsible for her missteps. So she's brought someone into her journey, and he's got to know everything, and there's got to be trust. And of course, in any new relationship, there's always going to be some slight misgivings. So you've really learned each other. It's almost like we're watching the burgeoning, like the growing of a relationship within the span of a few weeks in this house. Where they meet each other, they don't really know each other. They're just kind of like a blind date. Where they were set up. She has a goal. He's got a goal. His goal is to keep her safe at all costs, regardless of what she wants. Her goal is to get revenge, but not really. She kind of opens up with a fib. So we see these two humans, these two people, growing together into this kind of like microcosm of a relationship as they are going through this shared experience. And we see that in the face of unspeakable tragedy, the death of a child. And that is what allows us to really connect to this story. And I thought that's what some of the most beautiful horror films I've ever watched have been able to do, that, to bring us in and we say, yes, that resonates because I have experienced that, or that is a reflection of something that I have dealt with or I have seen people go through. And it touches us on that aspect and makes it all the more scarier. When you suddenly realize you're trapped in the house, you can't leave, otherwise you're really going to screw things up. And the things in the dark are coming to get you because you brought them there. So the concept of bringing your baggage wherever you go, with that the place you are, that's where you are. And the shit you bring with you, that's what makes up the space that you're in. And the fact that you open the door to these things, you bring them in, how we deal with tragedy. And that's why this film resonated with me a great deal. And because, and I'll get a little personal here. It's like when my dad passed away, for about a year, I was an absolute train wreck. I was an abominable person. No one wanted to be around me. It was absolute just shit. I was taking out my anger on everybody, everybody around me, and it was just fucking disgusting. It was just gross. But like, Angela, she persevered. She stood beside me and stayed with me the entire time because she knew eventually I'd get through it. But man, how that grief manifests. And when you go through something like that and you witness it firsthand, you see something like this portrayed on film or maybe even in a stage production, it can really, really hit you in the gut. And so I felt this one more than I feel most. I know, like, another one would be like the movie Heartless. Really struck me where I live because the characters are so rich and I can follow them on their journey. And this is the essence of wonderful horror films.
That was beautiful.
That was very beautiful.
Thank you.
No, but you're absolutely right. This one you can connect with the cast, you can connect with the situation. There's a little bit of everything in it, or something for everybody in there that somebody can grab onto and hold on to, and that's what makes this one a great film. Absolutely. But since we're on the topic of witchcraft, I'd like to ask the audience, what is your favorite witchcraft movie? There is a lot of really shitty ones, but there's a lot of very good ones.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I was going to say Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus is a solid answer. That's just a fun movie.
That's a fun one, yes.
I'm sure there's probably 30 of them that I can't think of the name of them all off the top of my head, whether it be, male, female lead, or occult, or witchcraft, magic, black magic kind of stuff. But not very many do it very well.
You know what one I'm going to throw it out there? It's probably going to catch you off guard. Fucking Death Becomes Her.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, Jack Nicholson. Fuck yeah. Or not Jack Nicholson. Sorry, I combined something. That was the Witches of Eastwick. Yeah. He was Satan in the Witches of Eastwick. But there's another one, Witches of Eastwick. There you go.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep. The fucking kills her when she shoots her with the stuff and blows the hole through her. She is fucking.
And she's walking around just a hole.
Dude, when Meryl Streep did her head's twisted around like that movie was fucking hilarious. It's absolutely hysterical. Witches of Eastwick was also pretty good. Charlie Welch says The Wizard of Oz. There you go. Can't get much more magical than Oz. Than the man behind the curtain.
I just watched the Wizard of Oz episode of Supernatural.
Oh, very nice. Where Oz is not quite what's depicted. All right, but definitely let us know in the live chat. We'll check him out, or let us know. Oh, yeah, Sarcasm. I think that might have been an old one. Yeah, he was mentioning The Craft. I actually do dig The Craft. I do. I'm a child of the 80s and the 90s. So I like, obviously Nev Campbell, Robin Tunney, who I just saw in Empire Records with Liv Tyler. But Feruzabal, come on. Feruzabal.
What?
Yeah. Legend. Who actually was in Return to Oz. Now it's all good. Let's see. PhD Tony says, huh?
Was there a new Craft movie?
We're not going to mention it.
Okay. I was going to say I hadn't seen it.
It was terrible. Yeah, right. It was terrible. It was just terrible.
Oh, that came out?
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Ivy Gentry says, love Death Becomes Her. PhD Tony says, Gretel and Hansel, which I heard good things about, but I do need to check it out. Sarcasm said, The Witch.
Oh, the Vavitch.
The Vavitch.
One of my personal favorites.
That one was so good. It was so excellent. And Ivy Gentry says, love Witches of Eastwick and Practical Magic. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. PhD Tony says Warlock. The first Warlock was actually not bad. It really was. It had some cool stuff about, like ancient lore about witches, like cream curdling overnight or a horse that sweats in the morning, blue flame. Cool stuff like that. And of course, the concept of the pennies held in the mouth. Interesting shit like that. Plus, it was funny as fuck when she was I can't remember the actress's name. She's the sister of Lori Singer. Haha, got it. When Lori Singer's character is like, she has the nails. She has like the iron nails, and she's looking for like his footprint, and she's sticking the nails in his footprints, and it's knocking him down. But when she can't find any because he fell down and his head pressed into it, so she put it in and she Julian Sands' reaction was hilarious. I thought it was fucking great. You
He's
remember?
on her
I think I aired it. I think I put it. I showed it. I streamed it in the theater. But yeah, she just find this moment where his head, his profile is pressed into the dirt. She's like, "Fuck it." She puts it up to his temple and smashes it with a hammer. It was fucking hilarious. And Gavlar the Hand of Zod says the Wicker Man, not the Cage version.
The original.
The original, not Cage Rage Bees. Nicolas Cage hates women. Not that one.
He punches a girl
Punches
in
him
the
right in the face. It's like, damn, Nick. I have something to say.
I was trying to think of. I guess The Village would be technically.
I think The Village is more of a more of a
monster.
thriller with a twist. What
With
a
a
twist!
M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong.
But definitely, let us know, what is your favorite witchcraft movie? weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Cage Rage the Bees. Oh, yes, let us know. I think Eugene has the next one.
Oh, yes. So we're going to close out on a really, really fun movie.
Super high note, man.
Yes. I love this film when it came out.
Fucking deep as shit, dude.
And we're going to have Idle Hands, that was released April 30th, 1999. 1999 is like one of the best years ever for films. Like,
Fucking I was 19.
yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. I was 9.
No, technically I was 18. I hadn't turned 19 yet. So fuck yeah, I was 18 years old. I could just
I was 8.
I could just start smoking legally. I was walking around, I thought I was a badass. I could see R-rated movies. I could go to the theater and see this movie, which I think I did. I think I did see this in theaters.
I hope you did. You can't call yourself fucking Jessica Biel fan or Jessica Biel.
Jessica Alba.
Jessica Biel fan.
Sorry,
I think I went to go see it because
the early 2000s Jessica Biel.
I mean, I wasn't like hot shit with the ladies. So I think it was more that Seth Green and Eldon Henson were in it, and they were undead, and I found them to be funny.
Well, speaking of that,
but feel free. But continue on, Eugene.
So Idle Hands is directed by Rodman Flender, and it stars Devin Soiwa, pronounce it, Seth Green, Eldon Henson, Jessica Alba, and Vivica A. Fox. And basically what ends up happening is a demonic force takes over his hand and starts killing people in hilarious ways, but starts killing people, and shit gets real.
There it is.
I love the film because you have people get killed and then they come back, and there's a whole bunch of creative ways, and it's awesome.
Oh, Sarcasm says, "Oh my god, I love Idle Hands. Angel Alba is still stuck in my fantasies." Yes, her in that angel costume was pretty fucking hot. And we dig hot chicks in funny ass fucking horror movies. And to go with this, I dug this one because I always found Idle Hands to be a solid balance between the horror and the comedy in this, because this was definitely half baked for the slasher fan, and with enough blood and gore to really justify it being a solid horror film, and of course with the laughs on the side because we got a couple of stoners. You sit there and you murdered your two best friends, then they come back and they're undead, and Eldon playing his head is not attached to his shit is fucking great. Excellent effects. I dug this one. I didn't think there was anything. I couldn't think of a bad thing to say about the movie. The performance was solid. It was funny as hell. And I dug the concept of just, a stoner movie, which, cause this was the late 90s, the stoner movie with, some serious horror elements. I thought it was really good. This was only 3 years after Scream came out. So it was one of those kind of, there's one of those little fun little throw-ins. I think an early hallmark of where, because, Seth Green eventually ended up doing Robot Chicken and have this kind of irreverent humor as a part of that. And I dug this one. Just, we're going to do the fucking, it's a horror movie, it's a stoner comedy. We're going to do it our fucking way. And this kind of mentality, I think, is what led to things like Robot Chicken and Seth Green's future, pretty much what Seth Green does today. So really love this one.
Evil.
Do what?
Said Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Yeah, shit like that. So I dug it. It was a lot of fun. Devin Sawa.
Bobby Newport.
You guys are ridiculous.
And Dr. Phil, starring as horror.
And of course, I think this was before. This was before Final Destination, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Final Destination came out next year.
Was it the year after? Yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah, 2000, 2001, something like that.
2000 was Final Destination. This was the movie he did right before Final Destination. So,
Yeah.
But obviously, cool kid. Obviously Devin Saw would go on. He'd do the Final Destination series, and then goes. I think he was, he was in what was it, Nikita? He was in the show Nikita for a while. I know he's doing stuff. He took a break there for a while, but he is doing some stuff now. And then, of course, Seth Green, Robot Chicken, would carry on, pretty much show up as Seth Green wherever he goes. And then Eldon Henson would go on to be in fucking Daredevil, as he was Foggy in Daredevil. And then, of course, Jessica Alba, who is, Sin City and super hot.
But the one thing that's awesome about this movie, and you think about the time period it comes out, it felt like something like an episode out of Buffy, which is without Buffy.
Holy shit, it kind of fucking does.
Like when you sit there and you start thinking about it, it's like the way the Supernatural's played off, the tone of it, and like it fits so well in that 90s vibe.
Dark theories. I think there's something wrong with my friend. I think he smoked some nutmeg or something.
Mix a nutmeg and oregano.
When fucking he puts this shit in, he tries to smoke that shit. He fucking freaks out. That shit was fucking funny as hell.
I see this movie was great too, and you got like Eldon Henson was like talking foreshadowing when he's like, when the human head gets cut off, it can still see for like, however long, and then the saw blade, and he's like, whoa. Oh, it was great. That was fucking. It was
when Seth Green gets the bottle gets it stuck on that shit. Obviously, physical comedy was amazing, and then of course all brought together by Jessica Alba.
It just keeps circling back to that.
I know,
yeah,
right?
that's just
but the one thing that fucking got me is that there's a point where he cuts his fucking hand off, and he's covered in fucking blood and gore. And at one point, there's this scene, and one thing I couldn't get out of my fucking head. I'm watching. There's a scene when they're in bed together. They're not having sex. But, they're making out, and they're doing their little thing like this. And I'm imagining, wait a minute. He's been running around this whole fucking time. The hand is fucking evil. Murdering motherfuckers. Like, killed his parents. Killing people. Like, says, he's asleep. It goes out when he's asleep, and it controls him. And I'm like, this fucker, and I've never once seen this motherfucker shower. Like, once. And here he's laying in bed with Jessica Alba, and I bet he stinks like a fucking murderer who hasn't showered in days. That's what struck me. Like, the stoner murderer who just doesn't, and I was like, I couldn't even imagine that. I don't know why.
That's a takeaway from the scene.
That was a takeaway from the scene. I think I was jealous. I was like, wait a minute. Why would you make out with that fucking idiot?
I shower every day, and I've had Jessica Alba.
I'm sorry, that sticks out in my mind. That is something that sticks out in my mind. I watch this movie, he's running around, he's always sweating his ass off, fighting his evil fucking hand, murdering people all over town, and then he's making out with Jessica Alba, and I'm like, this fucker's got to smell like, to high heaven. I haven't seen him shower once.
I'm glad you bring that up, because I've thought about stuff like that. Like, I was watching The Walking Dead. They've been walking around for fucking years without taking showers. They're still having babies. How does...
But that's post-apocalypse.
So let me tell
the 90s,
you something.
Wasn't it like the same thing?
Let me tell you something where you have a group of people who go a long period of time without showering. So eventually your nose will adjust. So
you've gone smell blind, honey.
I've been cons, dude. You don't get used to that.
No, you will be surprised. You will be surprised, and you're like you will adapt to it, and it'll be fine. And we were in the field, and we all went like a month without showering, and it's okay. All this other kind of stuff. The second you shower and then go back, that's when it hits you.
You're like,
it like resets your nose. Like your nose just adapts, and then once you reset it,
dude, it's like smoking cigarettes. I
That's
smoked
fucking-
cigarettes for 14 years.
That's wild.
And now, like, I smell people that smoke, and I'm like, wow, I smelled like that all the time. Not bashing on it. Like,
Yeah,
I
people just
smoked
get used to
for
it.
14 years,
Yeah,
but
yeah, you do.
So this one, I think everybody in the live chat can agree that Idle Hands, there's not a bunch of like super deep dives that we can go into this. This was one of those. This is one of those really, really fun movies that that actors often get that don't often get to get the opportunity to do stuff like this, unless of course you like know the writer or know the director and you'd be like we can go and do this thing. I really, I mean, it's a cult. The film has become a cult classic, and going back and watching this again made me reminisce about the other '90s cult classics or the things that are considered. Oh my God, the '90s was so long ago.
What you're talking about? Like, see, you were talking about the cult classic.
I keep seeing these memes. I keep seeing these memes. Like the latest one I saw on Facebook was what you think Zelda was 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
What Zelda actually was 20 years ago, and it was the fucking Wind Waker. And I'm like, no, and it just makes you feel old as shit. But this being 21. I think 22 years old at this point, or was 99? Yeah,
almost 22.
22, almost coming up on 22 years old. So now,
Jesus Christ, kids born in 2000 can drink this year.
Yeah,
yes, this is true. So, and obviously, classic cult 90s of horror films, which I really, really dug. So of the 90s. I don't know if you like the cult horror films. Like like The Craft. The Craft is a cult film.
Was that from the night? Was that from the 90s?
yeah, it's like 96.
Yeah,
so
it's
like
like
when
96?
Crack came out. Yeah.
Some of the other ones that I was trying to come up with, like horror comedy. But there wasn't too many horror comedy. There was a lot of definite comedy. I don't know. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
That's
There's some good ones like Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness, yeah.
9091, something like that.
I was gonna say Natural Born Killers, but I don't think that's really considered a horror movie. It's more like a slasher. Drop Dead Fred, that was another one.
You had Tremors. I think Tremors came out early 90s also.
Oh, fuck yes. There you go.
What else? Leprechaun.
Leprechaun in space.
Because the series took such a horrible dive off, I actually might consider the first one a cult favorite because it also has Jennifer Aniston in it.
True.
So yeah. I think it was her first movie.
What about Edward Scissorhands?
I mean, that's early 90s, but I would.
Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, I think that elevates it above cult. But like Arachnophobia.
There you go.
Yeah.
Addams Family Values.
I don't know if that one would be a cult one also.
and dishes are done, man. This shit was fucking great. Oh, it's sarcasm. Fast Times at Ridgemont High does the same thing to me. Major nostalgia trip. I get the same thing with fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I was gonna say Half Baked.
Gavel on the Hand of Zod, the Frighteners.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I love Peter. What if I really dug Peter Jackson's stuff before he still does good work, but when he blew up with Lord of the Rings, then you start pulling down really huge studio movies like King Kong and shit like that. But I absolutely love with the Frighteners, his other stuff, Meet the Feebles, Brain Dead, Bad Taste, love that stuff. Ivy Gentry says love Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Phoebe Cates, fuck yeah.
What about Dead Alive?
I just said that one.
Did you?
Or did I say Brain Dead? It's
you said Brain Dead.
It's both
That's
titles.
the same.
It's both titles. Same thing.
I mean Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Early Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's a funny movie.
I think it has moments, yes.
Gremlins 2 came out in like 90, I think.
Oh, fucking! I think Gremlins 2, came out in that was 90s. Gremlins was Joe Dante. Was that Joe Dante?
Gremlins?
I think it was a Joe Dante film, but yeah, that was 80s.
Yeah.
Early 80s. That was I think it was like 4 when that movie came out. Was it 84 or 82?
It had to have been.
I thought it was 82.
I think it might have been early 82.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. You can look it up.
So many fucking good ones. Yeah, I mean that's what watching this movie made me do. It made me reminisce back to the stuff that I watched growing up because it was cool to go back and revisit this one. See such babyface Seth Green and Devon Sawa and Jessica Alba and just
so young.
and then knowing where they are today. I always find it such a trip when I go back and watch older stuff and I said Beetlejuice and of course Chucky was the worst. I think Child's Play was pretty good. But going back and watching the actors we know, they, obviously, we've grown up with them. They're in their 40s, some of them are in their 50s now. But we go back and watch them in their early stuff, and it's kind of like, holy shit. I love watching them in the early roles. So.
I always find it like motivation because it's like, his is them like starting off.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody has to start off somewhere. And you can always go back like, oh, man, they're kind of fresh face, still excited, hoping that they get that big opportunity or this may be their big chance, and then it ends up working out for them. It's awesome.
Yep. Let's see. House 2 and The Gate 2. Because this is when those movies went more horror comedy than they did their straight horror originators. Return of the Living...
Cool. Yeah, it's true.
Let's see. John Repp says Return of the Living Dead was a high point when he was young. Species? Really? Well, I didn't catch it. It was like, Allie, that was like, but Species. Well, Species got its own franchise. Would we consider Species cult?
It was technically. I mean, I guess until it got its own franchise, I'd still call it cult.
I mean, Tremors got its own franchise, but I would consider that cult.
Yeah. Tremors was more cult than Species was for sure.
Well, Ivy Gantry says Interview with a Vampire was a horror movie for anyone who read the books. But awesome. But so many cool ones out there. I wanted to kind of reminisce, see what everybody's favorites were, and just kind of like look back on those things that we really, really enjoyed. Because that's where Idle Hands stood for me. There's no huge takeaway from this movie. It's a lot of fun, good performances, outlandishly funny, absolutely bonkers, situation. Especially when you imagine this teenage. I don't know. He's fucking teenage stoner, doesn't bathe, and his dead parents are rotting in his fucking house. So I don't fucking know, but it's
maybe it's more issue with her noses than his smell.
I may be, but an absolutely hilarious movie. With a fucking I gotta admit, I didn't. There's actually supposed to be like a huge I think an alternate ending to this movie, because the ending is the one thing that'll get you. It's just kind of like it just happens, like, and that's it. and they actually and in the meta trend of the late '90s are like. Okay, I thought that was going to be way bigger than it was supposed to be. I was like, that was going to be way larger. But okay, I guess it's over. So you have like the that moment like there. But I think there was an alternate ending to this film that on the DVD you can actually see with most of the effects completed on it. If I remember correctly, it was supposed to be was it this one?
I don't know.
I think so. There was supposed to be something larger with the hand going on. Yeah, if I remember correctly, in the DVD there is an alternate one where they didn't get to shoot it for budgetary reasons, but there was supposed to be a bigger thing where the hand invariably ends up going to hell or something like this. It ends up turning into a huge thing at the party at the end. And so, then they couldn't shoot it, or I guess they couldn't finish it, or ran out of, or just there wasn't enough money in the budget. So they went with the ending where it's just the hand and the knife and Seth Green. It's pretty much it. Yeah. But absolutely fun, a lot of fun, and I wanted to kind of revisit this one. I thought it was pretty cool.
And it is, and we've got several people said in the chat before, but let me ask the audience, what is your favorite 90s horror comedy? And so continue. You can put it in the chat if you haven't yet, or email us at weekendhorror@gmail.com. Or leave a comment. Let us know your favorite 90s horror comedy. And I think this is what everybody's actually been waiting for, the trivia question.
Yes, time for the trivia question. Oh, what does it say? NANA had a question. Question. Late 80s, early 90s movie, large parasitic worm-like creatures that takes over people's bodies.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That sounds like Night of the Creeps.
Oh, maybe.
Where they jump in people's mouths, turn them into zombies.
Yeah, the little like slug things that go in. Yeah.
Yeah, or if in a very similar one, he Peach Tony was saying, well, the Puppet Masters also had one where I think attached at the back, and Slither had one where they jumped in their mouths and turned them into fucking zombies as well. Slither was a James Gunn movie. Fun fact: if you're watching Thor: The Dark World, when they go to visit the Collector, one of the little Slither creatures can be seen in the Collector's collection because or it was no Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. You can see one of the little Slither creatures in the Collector's collection because they were both directed by James Gunn. He connected the universe. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers. Sorry, still just naming off.
Okay.
I love Starship Troopers.
Shaun of the Dead, PhD Tony, a little bit after the 90s, but definitely one of the best movies ever.
Absolutely. One of the best horror comedies ever created. So, yes, it is time for the trivia question. And this one I think is actually kind of easy because I couldn't think of anything harder than this one. So, but here we go. So if everybody is ready for the trivia question tonight, we are giving away a limited edition number 2 official Weekend Horror t-shirt.
Hallelujah.
I'm giving away one of the, because this is it. This is the last chance to get a limited edition Weekend Horror t-shirt. Number 2, the second limited edition t-shirt. This is the last opportunity. It will be leaving the shop at the end of the month. And this, of course, is the episode that closes out the month of April. So at the end of April, limited edition number 2 will no longer be available for purchase. So, but definitely check it out. But you have an opportunity to win one tonight if you can be the first one in the chat to get this trivia question correct. So, here we go. Everybody listening? Get your ears on. Trivia question. What rock band appears as themselves in the movie Idle Hands? I will repeat that. What rock band appears as themselves in the movie Idle Hands? First answer in the live chat gets the limited edition number 2 t-shirt. This is going to be a fast one. I know it is.
Oh, yeah.
2 hours later. Why doesn't anybody get this?
I'm having a hard time not like busting out some of the
It's so fucking easy. It really is. It's so fucking easy.
Yeah, their music was like on the trailer for it.
And the trailer is currently in the Trailers and Recommendations channel on our Discord. Charlie Welch is correct. It is The Offspring.
Give it to me, baby.
With Gavlar the Hand is on right behind with Offspring.
I like how Charlie Welch is like, I got one. I'll let everybody else play. He's like, Offspring?
Was it The Offspring? It was in the trailer. And yes, it was. The Offspring, the band, actually made an appearance in the movie. It was a trend in the 90s, just like Blink-182 made an appearance in American Pie. This seemed to be a thing. 90s bands were showing up in movies. But The Offspring was there, and they were on stage, and so they jump in there, and Charlie, what's his next winner? He already has the shirt. So that would be Gavlar the Hand of Zod.
Hey,
well, then congratulations to both.
Congratulations, Gavlar the Hand of Zod.
Yeah, he will get the limited edition shirt.
Limited edition number 2 shirt is going to Gavlar the Hand of Zod. And I will get that printed and shipped to you ASAP. But yeah, there's the big scene when they're doing the big party at the end. And at the party, Offspring was the band that was playing. And so, Devin Sawa's character runs in and he interrupts everything. Stop my hand, whatever, like this. And the band stops, they stop listening, they're like, get this idiot out of here. Now let's get ready to rock. And then the hand drops down out of the rafters and scalps. I think his name is Dylan, the lead singer. Is his name Dylan?
Sounds right.
I think his name is Dylan.
Shit, I've been listening to it for fucking 30 years of my 30-year life.
I've seen them live before, and I can't tell you their names.
Scalps the band's lead singer. It literally drops down on his head, and he goes at this point because there's a point where the hand sharpens its fingers in a pencil sharpener. It's like zzz, yeah, and it drops on his head and rips his scalp completely off. And that's how the horror begins in the final sequence. So they played a song from what band? Dark Theory says they played a song from what band though? Did they play their own song? Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched it.
It didn't really click. because there wasn't much of that in it. I mean,
no.
They reversed a trivia question.
Oh my god.
they reversed it on us. I don't know that.
Stream shuts down.
That's how you defeat us. But yes, congratulations to Gavlar, the Hand of Zod, one of our awesome patrons who has won a limited edition number 2 Week in Horror t-shirt. Remember, this is the last week, so today is April 20th. This episode will go live on April 25th. This will be the final week, April 25th to May 1st. So on the 30th, which is a Friday, the t-shirt will be coming off the store. So be sure to grab yours when you as quick as you can, because then we're going to move on to number 3, which is already in the works. So fan-fucking-tastic. Thank you all so much. This is awesome. I love doing the trivia. I love giving away free shit.
Always. All right. And that brings another episode of Week in Horror to a close. Thank you all so much for listening, and we truly hope you enjoyed the show. Join us next week as we discuss Beyond the Door, Meadowwoods, Z, and Graduation Day. We'd like to send a special shout out to our incredible patrons who have helped us make this show the success that it has started to become. Kind of. A little bit.
I think we're a success.
The Friendly Antinatalist, Joe Knowles, Jeff Roberts, Dark Steve, Commander Darklight, Sarcasm, Crafty Keela, Anthony Purcell, Gavlar, the Hand of Zod, Mike Barrett, Jessica G, Nana, Kyrie, Alexis S, and Jose Olalde.
Mm-hmm.
Visit us at Week in Horror at Jose Olalde. Visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every month. For more, you okay?
Yeah, I was just throwing a little echo in there. Every month.
We got to get like some fucking filters on the mics here. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Followers get our daily splatter, a bit of horror info every day right to your feed. You never know what you may discover. We really hope you enjoy the new live format, and we'd love to get your feedback. Subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a zombie head for the latest on the show. It doesn't really matter. YouTube doesn't send it to you until we're fucking streaming anyways. No, but seriously, subscribe, hit the bell. And lastly, if you truly love what we do and you'd like to and able to support us, you can through our PayPal and our Patreon. We have Patreon tiers as low as $1, bonus and exclusive content, and horror films every month. Links to everything, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, and even talk to us directly, are below. But we know these are trying times, and things are extremely tight. And as always, simply liking and sharing the show to your local to the horror community is always the absolute best way to continue to grow. Something, words. We appreciate each and every one of you for continued listenership. I'm Alex.
I'm Eugene.
And I am JL.
And we'll see you next week. And as always, stay scared.